So I have this table. My grandfather made it for my mother about 30 years ago. She used to do draperies, so a 2x4 frame with 2x4 legs was sufficient. But for what I'm going to use it for, it needs to be a little bit more robust. The center part I added after she had given it to me originally. It's pretty big too. It's 5 feet by 8 feet. A little bit big for a woodshop table. Good for what she was doing, but not so much for what I plan on doing. I wanted to use as much as the original wood as possible, so that's why I'm saving it all. This was a pretty cool find. It's my grandfather's writing 30 years later. It's kind of like a wooden time capsule thing. Here I am cleaning up the wood. Again, I'm using as much as the old wood as possible. Since there wasn't a lot there to begin with, I did end up buying, I think, 5 or 6 other 2x4s to use. This whole bench is basically a variation of Steve Ramsey's new workbench. I'll put a link in the description. There is some pocket hole joinery, and I know some people aren't a fan of that, but the way it's made, most of the weight is put on traditional joints, for lack of a better term, non-pocket hole ones. But here's putting on the legs, one of them. And one thing about putting on the stretchers is you don't want to drive a screw into the screw you use to put the legs on. Here's one side on the ground with the 2 stretchers. Kind of a 90-degree flip table. I had to get kind of creative with putting these together. And the kids came out and helped. An old one. Close your ears. That means it's recording. And I helped with the bottom stretchers. Declan threw trash on the ground. I cut this board a little short. Rather than trying to cut another board and wasting this one altogether, I just decided I was going to cut a little fill piece and hammer it down into place. I was worried about this splitting when I ran the screws and stuff into it, but I pre-drilled, so it wasn't a problem. If it falls apart later, I'll fix it then. That center brace was the piece of wood with my grandfather's writing on it. I really wanted to use it for the project, but after I installed it, I remembered that I have a bunch of this odd-sized plywood that I'm going to be using for the top, and it's a little bit short on the width, so I'm going to have to cut it kind of weird and stretch it or split it in the middle here. So actually, I put in two center cross pieces. You can see them there. And here's all the other cross beams. And Declan helped with the bottom. I don't have a track saw yet, so I have to cut all these the old-fashioned way. And the first 2 layers actually, I just tacked them down with roofing nails. Declan, of course, needed to do one too. The center layer, I was really annoyed with cutting the sheets down, so I just kind of made a patchwork, and I sanded down some of the edges so it all be flat. And then I did end up buying a whole new piece of plywood for the top layer. That just needed to be trimmed down a little bit. And then we did the bottom. And that's it. I don't have a lot of room right now, so I can't do like a full walk around, but it's not too elaborate of a thing anyway. But I'm sure you'll see it in more videos. And I have an idea to do cubbies and things like that on the bottom, again like Steve Ramsey's. I'm still kind of working that out, what I want to put down there. So I'll come back and do cubbies if I need to down the line.